them to 5 or getting pushed to 5 games by them. We'd like to see that some similar level of competition across the international board as well. So looking at those LCK teams, they are proving to be the nemesis for the LPL so far. As we move into our draft for game number 1, notable jungle picks. Vi still available if we do want to see that picked on up. The Xin Zhao again still available for that B1, and the Ambessa making its way onto the ban table. I feel like a lot more focus on Breathe in this draft by Top Esports than we typically see for other teams paying to top lane.
Weibo, knowing that both Xin and Vi are on the table, want to go for the guaranteed mid laner that would benefit off of either of them as the combo. Also, I know that Cubby has been very visceral about seeing any Vi B1s recently in the drafts that he witnesses, so he's going to be happy while doing social work for LPL English tonight as Top Esports answer with a rumble. There is Galio still on the table here, Root. I'm curious if Breathe starts to circle towards it on the return end for B2 and B3.
Possible. Also could end up seeing Top just take that away for themselves as well. But expectation here is that you'll find yourselves a Rumble answer and then look to match that jungle as well with the Vi locked in. Could very well see Trundle come to fruition. Could see the Xin Zhao locked in as that answer. But for Weibo here, again, they've got that Talia, that stable presence in the mid lane. And like they've kind of alluded to, they've got the ability to take a tank into that top side, something to answer the Rumble. We've still got Sion and Ornn available for Breathe if they want to go for that. And maybe that's just going to be the case here. But Weibo instead opting to take the Lovers duo. I think this has been maybe a bit too popularized by the MSI fandom at T1, taking this so frequently as a very early blue side or very early draft pick. But getting it locked in for Weibo means that they can go for dive now. They've now got a really staple damage core as well as having that threat from Crisp as well.
You know, at first I was like, really? You want to give up, you know, guaranteed counter pick into the Rumble with Galio? It would have been nice into Arya as well. But as you called out, the fact that Vi was kind of the glaring jungler looking at you with a cease and desist pointed at whatever 80 carry you locked in. Well, Xayah just says, yeah, screw you, dog. I popped Featherstorm, and now your ultimate is useless, and now you're suddenly super deep into enemy backline because it just forces you to commit. So I don't hate the pivot here. Now, heading into the ban phase, Weibo can now just try and create a favorable bot lane matchup for them by taking away powerful AD picks.
Yeah, and I like this Jhin takeaway, right? We've talked about the power of Jhin being this AD carry that can facilitate dive-style compositions or long-range compositions. Maybe see Ezreal taken off the board as a secondary glance. I mean, JackeyLove Ezreal has been popping off in significant numbers of games from split number 2. We could see the Sivir get locked in a little bit earlier if they want to enable this Vi and the Ahri duo going hand in hand. But for Weibo, they've pinched that AD carry pool that's going to leave JackeyLove a little bit worse for wear. But even in these situations previously, he's not been afraid to pull out something like the Misfortune as well and go into a really early aggressive style of comp. Because Weibo have got this really good one-item turn on right now, and they can, Top Esports, excuse me, have got this really big one-item spike, and if they look to power that up with an AD carry that can do the same sort of thing, a Lucian would fit that brief quite nicely. We'll see if that ends up being the case.
Nope, it is a Sivir. So now, Top Esports just going to try and use that on the hunt movement speed boost to allow Top Esports to just swarm Weibo Gaming and overrun them. So now a little bit of extra disengage power would be nice. We kind of knew that Xin was going to be one of the nice pairings with Talia, but because Top Esports elected to ban both Poppy and Trundle instead, it does ensure that that power combo is still available. And hey, look at that! The Galio could still be the taking, but Weibo are considering other options or just playing with our food, and wow, not the Galio. They're going for the York instead for Breathe, opting in for some of that split pushing power.
Okay, so with Top Esports sort of doubling down, and they are going to be this team fight composition. They want to hit 1-2 items and try and tear you apart. Weibo going to look to maybe just play a little bit more reserved, or maybe play to split that map up a little bit more. Worth saying that the Sivir Spell Shield, very much useless versus getting hit by a Dark Procession and then you get locked up in there. The same to be said for a Rumble as well. Really tricky to get out of that W from the Yorick if you do end up getting caught inside. So definite tools here for the Yorick to have a pretty decent showing here. We'll keep our eyes out for Breathe, who has been one of the highlight players for me, at least, for Weibo. And see whether or not he can continue with that, especially with the focus that he received in the early stages of this ban phase.
Yeah, the funny thing about Breathe is that he has quiet, great performances with this roster. And it's usually quiet because, unfortunately, the team still loses, considering how their season has gone. But Breathe is usually not the problem. And now being enabled with something like a Yorick, and the fact that Xiaohu going for a classic Talia pick gives this team a Weibo style that is so significantly split lanes and or trying to go for 1-3-1s, splitting the map, ensuring that top esports can never go for that 5v5 death ball. That is signature of pretty much any team that Xiaohu has been on. But of course, top esports want to really triple down into their strengths as a team fighting composition and a team fighting overall team of all these individuals.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, these two teams coming into today, they've played 3-game series yesterday. I'll have to wait to see whether or not they're going to take us to 3 games again as we head on to the Rift.
Top esports taking on Weibo Gaming, y'all, for our second series. Let's hit the Rift.
Nice.
Very vocal in the arena today for Weibo and top esports. Love to hear that. Classic Ward being dropped down at the Raptor camp. Now, trying to see here, Rude, and look forward into the future. Is there any shenanigans, any cheese plays in the cards here for Weibo and top esports, or are we just looking at some standard full clears here?
Nah, standard full clears. Let's get level 6. Let's do boring or VIR things and try and focus somebody either through taking, the Talia out mid lane or by focusing our way down to the bot side. Use that overlapping timers where you are going to get level 6 on your jungle and mid laner before the Xayah hits level 6. So there's a world where you can try and punish them on that timer. You can see Hong and Crisp actually duking it out down on that bot side. A reminder that these two supports were playing on the opposite rosters just last split. This is a very highly touted matchup for at least myself on the broadcast here, looking to see which of these two supports can sort of say that their team got the better end of this trade.
Yeah. This is almost like watching one of those 90s coming of age films where you walk into high school and then you see the two couples swapping partners and it's like, this is awkward. This is how does this go down? Who is better off for where?
It's the classic who won the breakup, right? Like we run this story a lot on the LPL because there's so frequently these types of situations where rosters end up being swapped around quite frequently, and this time round it happens to be the supports for top and for Weibo who've had that little change up, and keep our eyes out for who it is that's going to come out on top in at least game number 1 here. But the Alistair, at least in theory, a slightly better matchup into the Rakan. You can immediately see the Rakan as soon as he goes in, so hopefully he goes in and then gets punished for doing so. Quite the squishy support is the Rakan. But again, a reminder that for these two teams, it is about different things. Weibo looking to slow the pace of this game out, try and make sure that they can get to that 2-3 item spike for the Xayah, whereas for top esports, they have this insane 1 to 2 item spike with their entire top side that they should be looking to utilize.
369 might be in trouble here. Tian thinking about trying to line up that W. If he wanted to close the distance, it would cost his flash, which would maybe not even get 369's flash out since he's so close to the turret. As we see a little bit more action on the bottom side, because Tian showed on the top side, Kanavi now has full access to pressuring Crisp and Light off the tier 1 turret, pressuring them all the way to the tier 2 turret. And even though Kanavi's taking a lot of damage, He should be fine.
Yeah. It's all about the denial of experience here now. Light had to flash out from an engage from Hong, and looks like one full wave missed under the turret. With the pathing down to this bot side by Tian, they are going to be able to save this second wave as Crisp gets one interrupt.
What a beautiful bait. Crisp is able to at least get away, but it costed his own flash and heal. Kanavi just really pulling on the heartstrings of his former support from split 1 and 2. Does not get their lives down quite yet, but a lot of crucial spells being burned off the top.
Flash from JackeyLove there actually used to try and close that gap to take down Crisp. Unfortunately not able to flash in, take down his former support. Hong here, he's looking to hold this wave. Now he's in a 1v1 versus Light and a massive minion wave. It's not going to be easy, but headbutt away. Might just be able to buy enough time. Knocks up the rest of the creeps, and he's not even saving it for JackeyLove, as 369 is probably going to base and catch this big wave for himself.
I guess 369 could just easily TP towards the bottom side of the map, and at most is probably missing 3 creeps here.
Well, it's going to be a few more.
Yep.
Yeah, TP takes a while. A little bit desynced here. That's the best part of a wave that's actually just been denied here. Under the turret from 369 or from JackeyLove, depending on how you want to look at it. But this is the worst recall that you can find as a marksman in the current state of things when looking towards a Yuntal. Fair enough, there is a longsword in there, but it's slingshot jail, I call this, because you just can't afford a BF sword. And now you are just very weak for a large portion of this early game. Like, imagine a BF sword working its way through the Oryx health bar or trying to clear these waves would be significantly better, but a slingshot is the worst component that you can think to build because it just gives you so little. You know, occasionally a little bit of on-hit extra damage once every 40 seconds or a little bit of attack speed. It's just not what you're really after. Look at the chunk onto Breathe!
I was just about to say, it's like, man, if he had a BF sword there, maybe Breathe is like sent to 50% HP, but he just shrugs it off. Creme, or Crisp, I should say, setting up a seismic shove combo onto Kanavi. At least able to use the Vault Breaker to get out of harm's way there, but now they're linking up towards the top side of the map since Tian knows Kanavi is way too low to risk trying to link up with JackeyLove and Hong on the top side of the map. For what it's worth, the bottom lane is still relatively healthy, so it doesn't look like a bot lane or a top lane dive would happen. And grubs are not up for another minute or so, but Tian at least will be able to yoink away this red buff.
Well, Kanavi knows that it's going down. Red buff secured, and now he has no Q. He's got flash. Alright, nobody cares. We ignited for the banter. Lovely stuff. Tian might want more though. He has got this level 6 advantage as well, so can look to really force the issue as this
I love
is
this
in Zhao.
Creme. I like this. Light is not level 6 yet, so no Featherstorm to protect him, and still no flash either. Creme, what? He just hit level 6? Or was I not looking at the level 5?
No.
It looked like...
You're good.
Well,
he did just ding level 6. He did just ding level 6, and he did unfortunately get sent to slingshot jail as well. He had tier 2 boost to begin with. He goes back to base, buys a slingshot. We're crying. The reason it's so tricky to get BF sword after first recall, and with the way that these teams are looking to play lane swaps now, you kind of have to be perfect CSing for the first portion of the game in laning phase. Or you get in this really awkward position where your AD carries are incredibly weak for the early stages of this game. And now looking at it, you know, we've got more CS on your top laners, more CS on your Yorick and on your Rumble than we do on the Sivir and the Xayah respectively. So moving your top laners around the map is where your strength lies. And if you're looking to take these neutral objectives, you're looking to do it by having the top laners with you as opposed to your marksmen.
This looks like we get a exchange of neutral objectives here, Rude. Although Weibo getting grubs on time, whereas Top Esports just taking a dragon this late feels more like a consolation prize rather than a true objective trade, I would say.
And it's worth mentioning as well that despite the fact that that Drake goes down and at the same time as the grubs, that Rift Herald has a set spawn timer. It's not 5 minutes after the grubs fall, so it's going to be a slight desync on when those neutral objectives do respawn with one another. But again, a reminder that it is going to be top esports that are looking to somewhat progress the state of this game. At this stage, they're the team that has this slightly bigger one-item spike. And I know that we talk about this theoretical Sivir late-game win condition, but I mean, if MSI taught us anything, if just the way that we've seen so many games play out has taught us anything, it's that we very infrequently see Sivir reach that critical mass. And I mean, for top esports, I'm genuinely worried that if they don't continue this pace getting accelerated, that we may never see JackeyLove hit that marker.
But if top esports can just absolutely pwn Weibo Gaming at the one item spike, it may not matter. So it does come down to how well they can capitalize on that moment. We're still about a couple minutes away, I would imagine. Creme able to at least find one proactive good look onto Light while his flash summoner spell was down, making that dive with 369. Now Light has access to both summoner spells and Featherstorm, so is not going to be as easy of a target for top esports to look at. And because we're still waiting on objectives, it seems like top esports are just kind of chilling and just waiting for that one item spike to come through. And then I want to really see this squad turn up the gas, just really start getting aggressive with their ultimates. Even if they don't get kills, if you're forcing summoner spell cooldowns, your ultimates will come back up faster than those flashes.
Yeah, and I will say as well that coming into this series, I did have top esports in just as my favourites. I think that Split 2, you know, their playoffs run may be a little bit of a flub, but they were very high performers through that regular season. You know, it can be easy to forget the fact that they ended, I think, just 3 series losses throughout the entire split. So they are, you know, coming into this for me as the favourites. 7-11, the Weibo scoreline from split number 2 through regular season is now Creme looking aggressively onto Xiaohu.
Took a lot of damage, but then the charm connects, but Xiaohu is able to flash away before Hong's full Alistar combo comes through. But right there, Rude, top esports already burning a flash off of Xiaohu, so the next time that Kanavi wants to link on up with Creme, that should be a dead Talia on my screen.
Yeah, and at least for Xiaohu, it means that he's now going to need to play significantly more safely down on that bot side, and that, you know, maybe quite the difficult task. I will say he's been definitely struggling a little bit in that 1 versus 1, just in terms of taking those trades effectively. But now the fact that he's got no flash as well up against an Ahri of all champions, up against Savai as well, will definitely pose significant difficulties, as we may end up seeing a bit of a fight on this top side.
Kanavi locked in that dark procession crisp around the corner. Grand entrance. Kanavi will not flash it, using Hong to body block his way out of there. So Kanavi does get to preserve his life and his flash. The consolation prize is red buff going over to Weibo Gaming once again. It's the second one that Tian's been able to steal away, but with Dragon coming up in about a minute and a half time, more closer to the 10-second mark, top esports are just going to make sure that they have all their big buttons for that objective.
And that'd be nice if they can, you know, pick those up. I think that coming into this series, for me in particular, these were 2 junglers who I feel like we were quite happy with across split number 2 for Tian and for Kanavi as well. But they were maybe a little bit let down by their mid laners. I know that Creme came in and had, you know, really high hopes, but has yet to live up to them on that big level, on that international stage, and honestly at the domestic level as well. And then we know that Xiaohu as well is a player who frequently has been one of, if not the standout players of the LPL, not just of his team and his organization as a whole. But recently, you know, last split having a bit of a shaky split, having the same to be said for split number 1. You know, my theory for this was, you know, coming into this series, which of the junglers is going to be able to, you know, wrestle control of their mid laners and maybe be able to do that little bit more with them and sort of show them the ropes, so to speak. But with the way this game has gone and the way that we saw yesterday play out as well, it's actually been the complete opposite, where Xiaohu's done really well yesterday and maybe performing a bit above what expectation, but coming into today and coming into this game as well, it's Tian who actually is starting this game with that 500 gold lead, one of the biggest advantages we see on the Rift. And I do think that this Tian Zinzal could be the pretty big linchpin into how this game progresses.
Yep. Even though Xiaohu does not have Flash, if Weibo Gaming can get this fight started on their terms and be the initiators rather than the ones being initiated on, you can still find a pretty powerful combo. Xiaohu does not have that first item yet, so not as much burst. Tian trying to burn down this dragon in the face of JackeyLove. 1300. Kanavi comes through. Tian secures the dragon, but they send the full cease and desist. Here comes Creme on the right side flank. Tian caught in the crossfire. 369 with the TP, and now everyone's trying to bail. Light could be the next target to fall. Flashing away. Good flash by Kanavi to dodge the blade caller. Not get rooted in the crossfire. Creme helps pick up the feat of warfare for Top Esports, and it's 3 kills total for the squad.
Yeah, and I would say it's that one item power spike. We'd love to see them punish with it. And yes, that's the case, but Breathe just decided not to join, right? He can't TP down. He doesn't have it available. And instead, he just spends time working on that top tier 1 turret. He does take it down. So it's a very greedy play from the Weibo Gaming top laner, and honestly very greedy from the Weibo side as a whole. They should know that their top laner isn't joining this fight, so they have no purpose sticking around on this dragon when Top Esports look to take a contest. They certainly have no purpose standing and hitting when they know that they're getting TP'd on, when they know that the fight is already lost. By the time that they decide to turn tail and run, they've got Sivir resets, they've got Ahri resets, and the entire fight is lost.
End of the day, for Weibo Gaming's sake, they can say that, well, we're only down 1,000 gold. But yeah, I'm in the same boat with you, Rood. Seemed like a greedy overextension for Weibo on that dragon play. Now, Feats of Strength has not been overall completed since Top Esports got the kills, but Weibo got the first brick. Weibo technically are one objective closer since they have the grubs as well as that dragon. So Rift Herald could be a heavily contested objective if Top Esports want to prevent Weibo from getting feats of strength, I should say. Or they could wait for another dragon, which is coming up in the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, I will say as well that if we do see these fights around those objectives, it's going to be very important to see what Breathe does still without that teleport for another 30-40 seconds or so. But it's what he can do in the side lane as well that's really important. We've just seen a very greedy play from the Yorick to try and secure himself a little bit of a comeback in this laning matchup. Spent a lot of time out on that side lane, secured the first turret of the game as well, but still finds himself behind in gold versus 369. If he can use that gold to win a 1 versus 1 and start creating meaningful pressure on the side lane, then all of a sudden the fight that they lost down on the bot side doesn't look as bad, and it has a purpose. But if this Yorick continues to go even, not really able to push any advantage, you begin to think, why did we even fight in the first place?
Both junglers still circling around the bottom side of the map just to make sure these top laners are A-okay. Crisp even poking his head out since Long is also here. Weibo definitely want to help elevate and prop up this York in the side lane split push, because as you said, this York pick completely altered the type of composition that Weibo could have gone for. We talked about the Galio that was a potential answer, but going for York means, yeah, we don't care about the 5-on-5s. We want to take as many turrets as possible, but if Breathe just goes even, then you're not really...
Why didn't I just pick Sion, you know? Like, where's my own in this
Why didn't we just get a meatball?
And that's something for Breathe to try and negotiate as we move through the remainder of this game. Worth mentioning that so far the lion's share of deaths this game have been onto Light. Again, Xayah, this champion that wants to hit that 2-3 item spike and then start to really dish out damage, where JackeyLove on the Sivir probably wants to hit 4-5 items before we hit that critical mass for the Sivir. And you're talking about those AD carries, we already highlighted as well the support swap as well. Currently, these two AD carries, who are still playing, it's worth saying, are tied for 3rd as having the most supports alongside them both 9 apiece, the amount of supports that they've had. And normally for AD carries, you see sort of 3-4 people throughout the course of their career, and the bot lanes maybe stick together a little bit more. But for JackeyLove and Light, they have had a very rocky situation with the majority of their supports, or at the very least just frequently change them around.
Let's see if JackeyLove can make it work with Hong. This Rift Herald is about to go down, but Tian able to burst it down fast enough that, okay, you know what? They might not be able to walk up to this eye here. Creme trying to zone them off, but Tian able to finally find the right window. Seismic Shove is going to force Hong to pop his own ultimate. And Weibo Gaming, it looked a little dicey, but they're able to pull it off, Roodood, and they even pick up the total feats of strength.
I don't know, man. Is JackeyLove trying to donate back over to Crisp? Like a little bit of false loyalty there? Like he hit the eye for no reason, put down 1300 damage, and that meant that Weibo could then smite it down and burst it down. So I'm incredibly confused. JackeyLove, you know, the intrusive thoughts won there. You know, he saw big number, he hit big number, and that was really all that happened.
I must hit this Rift Herald.
Yeah, like I have to hit the eye. The eye's there, guys. Like, come on now. You can't expect me not to hit it. It's a little bit of a skirmish around this bot side. Charm connects on to Xiaohu, but nothing more to come through. The Drake secured for top esports, putting them up 2-1. But that's about it here. Once again, a lot of posturing, a lot of looking at neutral objectives going down, but nobody doing anything to prevent them.
Low-key Rude. Put me back in the EDG series, man. I know Palkia would just be trying to rip some map plays right now, whether he's getting caught out or he's the one catching people out.
Hey man,
Weibo
what
Gaming
they didn't tell you is this the Palkia support number 10 for both of these AD carries. That's what's coming next.
JackeyLove and Light after this split, and after, you know, if they make an international run, just look at EDG's roster and go, oh, hey, you got that new support?
Hello.
Welcome to the club. Oh my goodness, wait a minute. Breathe is just soloing this Otacon. Does anyone know?
No, they are completely unawares, and this is a really big play by Weibo. Herald down in the mid lane, and now I think they're starting to get an idea as the rest of Weibo have turned up to that top side, but yeah, Kanavi's in mid lane, and there's no spellbook. Smite for Hong. 369 cooks him on the way out, but for absolutely no purpose. Throws his equalizer to the wind, and for all intents and purposes, Weibo find themselves a Otacon with maybe a tier 1 turret bot side being the trade.
And I will give credit to Weibo. Yes, this isn't a super bloody game between these two teams because Weibo have tried to stay away from top esports and fighting into their 1-item spike, 2-item spike. But that macro play was awesome. And that is just kind of signature of what peak Weibo Gaming can look like, because any roster with Xiaohu that we've seen in history is able to just pull those plays out of thin air.
Charging, Tian in trouble.
Uh-oh. Well, Tian might go down here. Crescent Guard, all for naught, and now Crisp is on the way out just as fast as he went back in. Xiaohu is teleported to the play. Good flick onto JackeyLove. Good night, JKL. And now Weibo Gaming able to at least turn the tides of battle and go for an even one-on-one. Hong might be the next. Oh no, Breathe!
Oh, wow.
Wait, that's the wrong way! No! He was coming to your hands!
The timing on that blast cone could not have been worse for Breathe, and that's, you know, it's a 50-50 of, is that just unlucky or was that a misplay? I think you could argue for both, to be honest, but in all honesty, top esports not really getting what they wanted from that situation. They found themselves deep in enemy territory, looking for a big skirmish, but instead ended up just trading 1-for-1, and not necessarily on favourable targets either. They took down the jungler in exchange for their AD carriers. Now Weibo look for this tier 1 turret bot side. It does get equalised as the wave does end up falling down. And, you know, 1-for-1 trade in your bot side jungle doesn't really benefit either side too much.
And take a look back at the replay here. I mean, the burst and the instant kill on the Tian is pretty much guaranteed. However, it's the aftermath that is kind of monka W for top esports here.
Yeah, Xiaohu with a great flick on that TP on in. And Hong here, I mean, the great escape, honestly. Cone comes up, Breathe is like, oh, what a great idea. And unfortunately, between Nimbus Cloak and the flash from Hong, he's able to actually get away from that quite nicely. Means that for the rest of Top Esports, they're not going to have a flash engage on their Alistair, but meant that he didn't fall there and still has the perfect KDA.
True. Deathless. We appreciate it. We love it. Overall, the series of plays that has happened within the past 4 minutes since that Otacon sequence, despite, you know, 1 kill being traded back and forth, I am curious that even with this, you know, Sivir late game insurance policy, how pressed are Top Esports to try and put more pressure on Weibo Gaming? Because the more time that scales up without them being able to get anything, hang on. Chris actually sending it onto his former AD carry, JackeyLove, in a world of trouble, and he gets bursted out by Light's Feathers here. Creme trying to dance now with the Spirit Rush, has 2 more charges, looks for the Charm. Tian getting charmed up, but at least able to keep Creme at bay thanks to the W cast, and Top Esports not going to be able to find any return kills.
And it's JackeyLove caught on a mid-wave once again. Crisp actually doing very well there, knowing that the Rakan can do favorable interactions versus the Sivir. Uses the quickness to pop the spell shield, and then the knock-up lands anyway. And with the Drake spawning in 2 seconds time, now Hong caught.
Well, no flash on this Alistar, and even through the ultimate is not going to survive long enough. Kanavi sends it with the cease and desist. Maybe 1 kill back? No! Not enough damage in the tank. Even the equalizer sent on top of it from 369, who tried to go for a drive-by, does not find any stragglers on Weibo Gaming that he can burn out, and this is going to open up the map even further since that's a tier 1 turret in favor of Weibo.
And they might look to try and take the bot lane tier 1 turret as well off the back of this. Kanavi still dead for 20 seconds, means they've got a lot of legwork that they can do on the map. Tian going to take down this neutral objective, and Weibo, they've evened up the scoreline, they've evened up the gold, they've evened up those neutral objectives. We are right back to that parity, and it's at this stage in the game where we're starting to think that, well, actually Top Esports, your composition maybe starts to not do quite as much damage as you might have liked, and actually where Weibo really begin to thrive. We've got Seraphs completed for Xiaohu, we've got JackeyLove, who, just looking at this, steps too far forward. The Rakan can all too easily take down a Sivir in this situation, and Hong not really there to peel up the Sivir either. It does mean that it's a net neutral trade across the game now. Creme, the only real decisive difference here in this game. This is 1k gold over the Talia, but again, Xiaohu's reached 2 items. He does do some good damage, and I think that for Weibo Gaming, this 3-item spike a little bit more favourable for the Xayah than it is for the Sivir. Breathe as well on this 2-item hit. It's going to do a lot of damage if you can get any access to anyone. Oh, Xiaohu.
Xiaohu. Unfortunately, that side of the map does not belong to you.
No.
And that's I think that was was that a shutdown I just saw? Even though
shutdown or not, it's 27 minutes into this game and they just killed the enemy mid laner. This should be Top Esports looking to do some serious damage, whether to the Baron or to some structures. I mean, if they can't do that, then that just speaks to the strength that Weibo have. Breathe in the side lane doing well enough to take down a tier 1 turret, and yeah, I mean, Top Esports, I think you have to rip this. 25 seconds until that teleport can come through. Weaver's Wall available as well, so it doesn't need to be the perfect TP angle. But this is a tricky contest here. There's availability for Breathe's teleport. There's Tian, Crisp. They can run amok in this pit.
JackeyLove pops the on the hunt. Kanavi goes in. Tian punts him back with the Crescent Guard. Chris trying to stall for time. Equalizer right over the top, forcing them into that choke point. Tian has to go in with the 3-talent strike. Cease and desist canceled by the Featherstorm. Creme following up with the Charm and the Spirit Rush, now looking for more kills. Xiaohu arrives at the party, but he's too late. Two of his comrades, I should say, have already fallen, since Breathe is on that Sigma Male grind set, just splitting on the bot side of the map.
I mean, he has to get the tier 2, and I mean, he's not going to be able to get that tier 3 at all. This is, again, a very beneficial trade for Top Esports, and it's Weibo committing to this split push style. This is, again, another conscious choice from the Weibo top laner, choosing not to teleport in, choosing instead to funnel gold into himself, to give himself the carry shoes, and see if he can walk them through to a victory.
And Top Esports at least able to make some strong proactive moves. A great pick on the Xiaohu leads into the rush on the Baron, and that forces Weibo's hand.
Yeah, and I like this from Top Esports. If anything, I think they're a little bit hesitant about this. They have the numbers advantage here. This is a 4 versus 3 that they should be looking to take, and with Creme joining in as well, it turns into a 5 versus 3 after the fact. Light is forced to burn his flash and ghost as well, and I think that Top finally finding that fight was a good idea.
Oh. This Weaver's Wall from Xiaohu, though, has cut off 369's path of retreat. Equalizer trying to prevent Xiaohu from walking on up, but he is still surrounded on all fronts there. No way to get out of that one. JackeyLove trying to push in through the mid lane through the power of this Baron buff on their side. Not going to be able to take down this tier 2 turret anytime soon, but Top Esports just focusing all their power, shifting from the top side of the map into this bottom tier 2 turret.
Yeah, remember, they've lost a player at this stage. This is them choosing to find a turret despite the fact that they are down a member. And we actually got to see in your picture-in-picture, it was Breathe's teleport that started off the pick onto 369 that meant that he ended up going down. Xiaohu burning his Seraphs just to the creeps here.
Xiaohu still has flash, but he has to wait for the charm. Good patience there. Creme is able to burn it, but here comes a teleport now from Hong of all players, just trying to keep Xiaohu in place, dodging out on the seismic shove, and finally headbutting him back into the waiting arms of Kanavi.
That's the split 2 Xiaohu that I know. Second time he's been caught on the side lane in top, and once again it's going to lead to an objective falling. 44 seconds on his death timer. Look at that timer on the Drake Raafaa. 20 seconds before that one goes down. This is another blunder from the player who yesterday got 2 MVP votes. Again, it's so much of these two teams that we've been concerned about their mid laners. Xiaohu having a pretty rough split number 2. Creme not yet being able to live up to the high expectations that Top Esports as an organisation have. But in this game as well on the Ari has actually looked very solid. 2k gold over his counterpart, and for the most part, not really too many complaints.
Yeah. The funny thing is that it's almost been a quiet performance just because we've been so enamored with Weibo's ability to split the map and get a lot of these objectives under the noses of Top Esports. But anytime Top is able to force the issue, Creme is right there. He is immediately spirit rushing forward, landing good charms, or burning crucial summoner spells that then give Top Esports the ability to easily punish the next time they find them.
In what is, weirdly enough, somehow the battle for first in day number 2. It's currently Top Esports looking like they're going to take the first blood in this series. They still need to do a good amount of legwork here. 2k gold lead is by no means a signed, sealed and delivered victory, especially when we're looking at this Vi beginning to maybe struggle a little bit in terms of keeping up with the damage profiles of this game. When we look at Light on this Xayah now, 3.5 items, but looking at JackeyLove as well on this Sivir, 4 items, that critical mass. That point of no return where you just expect Sivir to completely decimate everybody. We're there.
Yeah, it's been tough. And for Weibo, even though the map play has been pretty stellar, they still need to find a way to answer to Top Esports when it comes to whether it's a 4-on-4 or a 5-on-5, depending on if Breathe joins the fray. He's been effective in taking turrets, but he hasn't had a surmounting gold lead. Uh-oh, Tian. I mean, flash away all you can. Chris trying to stall the fight as long as possible. Light has joined the fray as well as Xiaohu, but now they need to reposition in the choke point, and Light gets caught by Kanavi and crew. Weaver's Wall at least gets Xiaohu out, but Kanavi sends it. Vault Breaker flash connects right onto Tian's face, and he's going to get smashed into the ground. The rest of Top Esports will not be able to push through this choke point, but they've done all that they needed to here, Rood. There's no objectives coming up for the next minute or so, but Top Esports continuing to extend their dominance on the map.
So fights for fight's sake, and they may be able to take this tier 2 turret in the mid lane, but looking at the way that this wave play is going to come through, it's going to be tricky as teleport comes in. Now
Hong. What a cheeky angle to look for with that Hex Flash, and Creme coming over with the teleport was ready to follow up there. It's just enough to guarantee pressure for that tier 2 turret and maybe more.
Tier 3 gonna fall down as well. Baron respawns in 40 seconds. Soul spawning in 3 times that 2 minutes 20 on that respawn timer, and it's just Hong deciding, actually, you're not allowed to be here, and it looks actually not too bad for Weibo. Tian survives for a long while. Light's got free access here to hit. Creme is pretty much 1 HP, but then he goes for a 1 versus 1 with JackeyLove, and unfortunately there's a knock-up ready for Hong. Those cooldowns are back up and ready. So we go back to live. Doesn't look like there's anything too pressing on the cards, as I say that, and Breathe may be the one caught out.
Oh no, Breathe trying to get to the wall so he can flash over, but 369 will follow with one of his own and burns him down. And Weibo Gaming now losing out on their crucial split pusher for the next 50 seconds, right when the Baron spawns. I don't know how Weibo can contest this one.
It's just those Weibo side laners. I mean, for the most part, in fairness, it had been Xiaohu, Breathe, the first time that he's really been picked off, but I mean, there's enough time for Kanavi to go back to base, walk back out onto the Baron, and still have a lot of time before Weibo can actually contest as a 5-man unit. Expect them to hit this purple worm, push this mid-wave, move in, and try to take it down. We've still got timers on Breathe, 20 seconds, but he does have teleport. Top Esports beginning to be a little pressed for that time.
Oh, Hong, Hex Flash. Gets a pulverize on the Tian. No target really to headbutt into his team, though.
Used.
Good charm. Good damage on the Tian. Hysterics has been popped, and Hong is already chasing for another flank angle. Creme in a solo mission. Okay. You know what? His team gets the Baron. Maybe he didn't need to go that far in, but it's fine.
I think his team were getting the Baron. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know that I don't know that Creme had to do that. Yeah, I'm not allowing that, I'm afraid. That was illegal. I mean, shout out Crisp for looking for that, but this is, unfortunately, you know, some of those concerns that we've had with these mid laners. We're seeing shades of it on both sides, where Xiaohu's, you know, both of his deaths have been him just staying for 1 wave too long in a side lane, and now Creme, when his team is probably going to get the Baron pretty much for free, just stepping one ult too far forward ends up costing him his life, and is going to delay this top esports push by a good few minutes, or by a minute or so. It means that they're not going to be able to get the soul off of this as well, which is most likely the most logical recourse for them, having the Baron. That's now delayed another 5 minutes, and it just makes this game that little bit more tense. Even though top esports have got a 5k gold lead, they've got all of the advantages everywhere else. It does just, you know, raises a question mark, doesn't it? Is there a world where Weibo can win?
I'm not sure if I have the answer to that, Rude, but I do have an answer to something else. And it is, whenever you buy the BM book, you get punished. Because Creme, upon walking towards that Baron play, had Medjai Soul Stealer. I don't remember how many stacks, but he had just purchased it off, or they upgraded it from the Dark Seal, and now it's back to 0. So it's a curse.
It will either remain 0 and he will die again, or he will, and then he'll sell it, or he'll end up with like 12 after 1 fight. And that's just the way that Ari goes.
True.
But struggling to siege onto this top tier 2 at this stage as well. I mean, with 369 having to de-push the bot wave, and JackeyLove being this Sivir, she's really good at de-pushing, really good at clearing waves, but actually stepping up to take turrets down as a low-range marksman can be pretty difficult.
Yeah, it is definitely a tough one. Xiaohu was trying to time the seismic shove on the teleport coming in. Creme takes a big chunk out of Crisp's health bar, as well as a decent one for Xiaohu. Tian jumping onto the front line. Hong is popped.
God.
Okay, wait a minute. That's a 5-on-4 now for Weibo Gaming for the next 43 seconds. Top Esports going to try to see if they can still yoink this blue buff away successfully, but Xiaohu's going to press for it. Weaver's wall in. Tanks a full fist. Kanavi forced a flash. Tian still looking for the chase. JackeyLove trying to support it with the on the hunt. Tian getting dropped low, forced to flash. Kanavi, GA gone, but he's got no way out of this one. The Dark Precision catching JackeyLove. He's still trying to cut this one out. The Sivir damage is not
Ricochet!
Creme, though, and 369 can turn this one around. Flash over the wall. Charm connects in, and the solo laners for Top Esports will save what could have been disaster. A full 5-man ace. Weibo Gaming have no more defenders, and Top Esports are going to send it for the base push.
And JackeyLove, with his dying breath, puts out just a couple of autos, and those ricochets tear Weibo to pieces. The solo laners will do it, and top will take game one.
Rude, we're so back.
We are
so back. I was waiting for the super climatic, just all-out LPL brawl. Weibo Gaming got that pick on the Hong, and they said, you know what? Now or never, boys. It's time to send it one time for the lads. And it was starting to look good. It looked like Top Esports just completely lost control of the game, but just that quick turnaround, clutch performances from the solo laners, and even you called out from JackeyLove being able to pump out as much damage as possible on his dying breath.
Yeah, I mean, he got caught in the Yorick W, right? And we're thinking, oh, that probably is just death. He flashes out, dodges the Rakan knock-up, and then actually is able to pump out just enough damage to give Creme some resets to allow for that engage from 369, the follow-up to come through and allow Top Esports now to secure themselves a 1-0. That's the thing, right? We had no soul, and the Baron didn't really break open the base. It felt like that game could have gone on for another 5-10 minutes or so, but we got so late into that game that actually one fight ended it all. And Weibo, you know, they'll be kicking themselves a little bit. They chased just a little too close to the sun, and unfortunately, those wings did get melted.
And they fell right back into the dark depths of the ocean. Now, Weibo Gaming, we're going to see how well they can swim and try and float back up to the top of the surface here, as Top Esports will now walk away one game in their back pockets for this series. One game away from closing it out for just a fruitful 2-0, or if Weibo Gaming can answer back. Remember, both of these teams were able to take 2-1 series victories over their opponents, but as you alluded, Rude, the competition that Weibo Gaming was playing against in FPX yesterday, probably not the same level as IG with Top Esports victory over them.
And especially with the style in which Weibo won as well, we were sort of thinking, actually, this is, you know, they're really convincing win game number one. And then all of a sudden FPX managed to claw back a game, and that was a close game for Weibo, a world where that could have been a 2-0, but the fact that it wasn't, again, calls into question the consistency of this team, into consistency of this organization, and it does mean that Top Esports, you know, probably coming into this as the favourites for it. Definitely for myself, they were a team that I was expecting to come away with this win, and we'll just have to keep our eyes out, see if Top Esports can close this out in a 2-0 fashion, or if Weibo are going to continue to show us those glints, those hints of success that they have.
Yeah, taking a quick look at the gold graph and the overall damage charts. Wow, JackeyLove. Wow. I mean, that is Sivir damage right there, but I wouldn't be shocked if, you know, he gained like 5,000 just off of that last fight. Just shut up.
It never felt like we had the big Sivir team fight until it won the game. And I think that's Sivir in a nutshell, right? Like, she's so infrequently the reason that you actually win a team fight until she wins you the game. And that's just typically when the champion comes online. And you know, Jackie, I think they had some very good team fights as well. I think that recognizing one of the difficulties of Sivir is knowing what it is that you should be spell shielding. And in this instance, did a very good job at recognizing, well, anything that puts a target on my back, you know, getting hit by a Zinzao W, is the type of thing that I want to get rid of.
Yeah. And for the majority of this game, Top Esports played a relatively very clean game. A lot of these team fights were orchestrated beautifully. The target selection was pretty darn good. There were moments where they did overextend themselves. I think JackeyLove got caught a couple times just because either the safety of his team betrayed him in thinking, oh, I can step up this far. Oh, hey, I guess I can't step up this far. But yeah, still the question remains, and why we are so cautiously wanting to support this team and be fans of this team, is just because we've been heartbroken so many times, Rude, in the past. I mean, even us as newer LPL casters, we saw what happened in Split 1. They made the lower bracket run. It was freaking awesome. They win the championship. It's the first title for JackeyLove in nearly 4 or 5 years. And what happens? They go to first stand and they stink. And it's just like, oh, top esports, we want you to be good. You just have to show that you can consistently do it. And this, you know, this is one of those moments where Creme, we called, he's like, wow, he's having a stellar game. You know, he's quietly, you know, having strong Ari looks. And then immediately after, a little too deep.
Yeah, and again, you know, this is the chase, and this is the first time we get to see a replay of this fight. Like, check out the ricochets. I feel like they just do so much work through this fight, and tearing through, you know, the majority of Weibo's health pool. We'll say 369 actually contributes quite a lot onto Breathe. But look, Ricochet, Light hasn't autoed anybody yet. He's down to 60%, 50%, and finally, by the time he flashes in, he's half HP and he's already dead, just to simply sivir ricochets before he even got into the fight.
A shout out to the LPL Observer crew for being able to get that crucial insight for us here, because since that was the last fight of the game, we didn't get a chance to, you know, pull up a replay of it until now. But those Zaz were hitting hard, Rude, by the end of the game. I think JackeyLove was pretty much on 4.5 items. I remember seeing a Last Whisper in his inventory, not fully completed for the Lord Doms. And MVP, wow. Okay, so
okay,
that one sivir fight is enough for the broadcast to go, yes, take the MVP.
Objectively, I understand, right? Like, the reason Top Esports won that game was because of the sivir, so yeah, sure, I'll allow it. Was the reason that this game was so difficult a little bit also because he randomly got caught once mid lane? Kinda, maybe, but, you know, it is what it is.
Oh, it almost feels like Split 1 finals MVP all over again. Anyway, that 369 needs to get more credit. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to take a short break, y'all. We're going to get ready for game 2 of this series. So make sure that you are grabbing refuel on your popcorn or whatever drinks you want to get, because we'll be right back after this.